Welcome to the InfoMullet YouTube channel. If you enjoy this content, please like or share. And if you'd like to support the InfoMullet by becoming a mulleteer, visit us on Patreon. We appreciate your support. The COVID forecast is not good. This is the R-aught value for the United States right now. We've been watching this for a couple of weeks. This is every state. It's rt.live here. Every state in the United States with its R-out value. If you're above 1 on this, you have an active outbreak that is escalating. Remember, our out value is for every 1 person who gets infected. More than 1 person gets infected. So you have to have 1.1, or if you have an R value of 2, for every 1 person infected, 2 get infected. And these red ones over here are at 1 or higher. This was at 4 states about 2 weeks ago. It has been steadily increasing, and we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 states are now at R value 1 or higher. And this, remember, because of the lag of COVID-19, we're looking at infections here. Probably incubation and infection was probably before anything with George Floyd stuff. So this is not a reflection on the protest. That will come next week or the week after. And you have some rather large states in here. California now, Texas, Texas at 1.03, California's at 1.01. Georgia was the worst in the nation at a 1.14, but North Carolina coming in at the end, 1.38. Congratulations, North Carolina. Well done, taking the lead from Georgia. So, yeah, we've got Wave 1.5 here. The problem is that you see these behavior modes here. These are the behavior modes of the state. So that was the R value. The behavior mode shows you where it's going over time. Again, we had a few states that were doing well. This list has actually gotten shorter. We've lost some. And you see within Alaska, you see this big spike coming up. Montana as well. Now, these are low case numbers in Montana and Alaska, so people were asking about these. Look at Alaska. Total cases are 475. New cases a day is 9. So when you see these large spikes, look underneath and make sure that the case count is not, the behavior is not being distorted by a small case count. But these are the states that are nearly there. Again, fewer number than it was before. We're losing ground in COVID because of the reopenings, and I've been warning about this for weeks, but it's now coming through. And these are all the states that are escalating. And you look at these, so, Alaska and Montana, they're 9 or 10 new cases. Alabama, 500 new cases a day. Arizona, 500 cases a day. Let's see here. Where's the one? North Carolina, right? North Carolina, look at this. 767 cases a day, 30,000 cases in total. It's Wave 1.5 is here. I haven't done a death update. We're probably at 100,006, 100,007, with the protests and the riots and all that and standing out in the sun. I haven't been able to update, but this thing is still very much active. We have failed to contain it. We've reopened, and now we've caused a fresh outbreak. So the bad side is that we're not in lockdown. We're not in recovery. We're not safe, we're not stable, and this has not just an impact on the health outcomes, this erodes confidence in, should I reopen my business? Should I bring my workers back? Will there be customers? This is all before the protests and the dramatic images we've seen over the last week. So if COVID was already an outbreak Wave 1.5 previous to the protests and the George Floyd, I can't imagine it's going to be any better afterwards. I mean, yesterday, if you went down this entire line, people were socially distanced, they had masks. I mean, it was a really well-run thing, and we had the space to do it. But when the police confine a large group of protesters in a small area, even if they're wearing masks, and not all of them are wearing masks, there's going to be transmission. So, and the police themselves, the police are not immune. For anywhere you get a group of people now that it's outside, that's a little bit better. It's better than being inside. But still, we know if you're shouting, and your police screaming, you're a protester shouting, and you're infected, this exhales a lot of the virus into the area. So even outdoors, you can create situations where those close to you can be infected. And unfortunately, this is the state by state for test and trace. Now, this has gotten a little better in that some of the states that were red on testing and tracing, like Georgia, have now gone to light blue, which means they just don't have enough tracing. They need to scale it up. The problem is with Georgia, these numbers here, we cut Georgia, which has now manipulated its numbers more times than I can count. They were combining their serology tests with their antibody test with their positive virus test. 2 different kinds of tests. The positive virus test says you have the virus. The serology test says you had the virus. They should not be combined. and Georgia was combining the numbers. So we don't know if their testing numbers are being juked by that method. So again, we don't really know what's going on, but most of the states in the United States they have some, but not enough. And the ones that are doing best are the ones with the lowest cases. Montana and Alaska, they're only at 500 cases. Yeah, they're doing fine. But North Carolina, this is the place where the outbreak is. They're one of the worst states now. I mean, the lack of following the dance procedures of getting your testing and tracing up to speed before you reopen, well, you can see here we didn't do it, and we've had the outbreak. So the kind of the forecast is not good. Everything I just showed you was before the protest. The protest will amplify that, no doubt about that. So the question of, is it resurgence? It is already resurged, or surged again, or is surged. But after the protest, it'll be more surged, or higher surged, or surgerific. It'll be worse. One is, if things are getting worse regarding COVID, do you expect Trump to blame protests for that? Yes, I do. He will take every opportunity to blame something for something. So no doubt in my mind. The other thing is, he'll probably blame 20 other stuff at the same time, most of which won't make sense. So yeah, he'll definitely take advantage of that. And in a way, it's, I mean, I don't think, I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. The protests are the last thing you want to have happen when you're trying to control a pandemic. There's, you know, again, the rules of the pandemic are the rules. The pandemic does not care whether we feel there's systemic oppression and want to protest it, or we want to get our hair done, or we feel the states are being tyrants and we need to reopen. All the reasons we have for why we may not follow the rules of the pandemic doesn't care. It's going to do what it's a virus. It doesn't have empathy, compassion, and you know, it doesn't have feelings. You can't reason with it. You can't negotiate with it. So yeah, the protests are going to have an impact on it. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to follow the InfoMullet, visit us on Facebook or Twitter. And if you'd like notifications when we post new video content, click on the red subscribe button below the video. If you've ever wanted to become a mulleteer and support the InfoMullet, visit us on Patreon. We appreciate the support.